The people on the Zoom, can you hear me? Okay, great. So hello and welcome. Thank you for your patience. We're starting a couple minutes late here. But in any case, we have a precious opportunity. It's Lhabab Duchen, I think many of you know, is one of the four holy days in the Buddhist calendar. It's the day that commemorates Shakyamuni Buddha. So his mother passed away when he was still an infant. And his mother got reborn in the so-called land of the 33, the God realm of the 33. And to repay the kindness of his mother, then the Buddha traveled to that land, that realm, and taught his mother. And I think he was up there for maybe 3 months, not that long. But then when he came back and descended from the land of the 33, then Lhabab. La is like Deva realm, Bap is to descend. So it's the day where they commemorate his descending from this land of the 33. Let me put it here. Okay. So as it happened, even though the Buddha was gone just for a short amount of time, the people of Earth felt entirely lost without him. And so it was seen with a lot of joy when Buddha was able to return. So it is said that on this day and the other holy days, so we have of course, the Lhabab Duchen, which commemorates the Buddha's enlightenment, as well as birth and parinirvana, and also the Chukor Duchen, which commemorates the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, and then we have the Chotrul Duchen, the Day of Miracles, which is on the 15th day of the Tibetan New Year, the Lunar New Year, which celebrates the Buddha performing various miracles to subdue some of the non-Buddhist kind of teachers at that time. In any case, the merit that we accumulate on these days is multiplied by 100 million times. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche was very sort of adamant in giving the advice that we must take advantage of these days because of this merit multiplying effect. And so actually, it's not just the 15th of the first Tibetan month, but the first 15 days entirely are merit multiplying days. So for many years, I would always, myself do retreat on those days. And then I felt that, if I got a good start to the year with the merit multiplying, then the rest of the year will go well. So what that means then, various prayers and practices had been advised to do on these holy days. And one of them is this recitation of the Golden Light Sutra. So before we get into that, then I just wanted us to take a moment and adjust our motivation. So please think that the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings. And in order that I may be able to benefit sentient beings in the best way, I myself must first achieve the state of enlightenment. Then and only then will I have the skills, the qualities, the ability to guide sentient beings in the most effective way from the oceans of samsaric suffering to the state of enlightenment. And therefore I need to accumulate the various causes to achieve enlightenment and purify my mind of all obscurations and obstacles that prevent me from achieving that state. And therefore, on this occasion, I'm going to engage in this sutra recitation, as well as listen to the introductory lecture And then to think that we're going to direct all of our merit, all of our energy that we create in our practice here today for the temporary and ultimate benefit of all sentient beings, that they quickly can achieve the highest state of enlightenment. Okay. So then of all the various prayers and practices that we can do and were recommended on this day, then I thought especially it would be good to recite and give a short teaching on this Golden Light Sutra. So many of you who've been here for some years will know that Lama Zopa Rinpoche himself had recommended this practice widely to all of his students. And not only that, but here, especially at Tushita in Delhi, he started giving the oral transmission of the sutra. And that can be seen as, Rinpoche's own wish that the students of this center engage with this sutra. So let us just now, we can turn to page 5 in this text. And this is a preface that was written by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And I wanted to read that out and maybe make some comments. This text is very precious. It brings peace and happiness and is very powerful to stop violence. By hearing this text, one's karma is purified. The purpose of our life is to benefit others. We can bring others happiness of this life, but the happiness of all coming future lives is more important. More important than that is bringing sentient beings to liberation, which is free forever from the suffering of samsara. Most beneficial is to bring them to ultimate great liberation of full enlightenment. That is the greatest service and benefit to sentient beings. To do this, we must achieve, first we must achieve full enlightenment ourselves. So those of you who've been, studying Lamrim before, even in this paragraph here, you'll see these are the 3 motivations of the 3 types of being in Lamrim, right? First, the small scope, as they say, the initial capable being is prioritizing, motivating their efforts to achieve the happiness in future lives, seeing that that's more important than happiness in this life. But even more important than that, more important than being happy in our future lives, is to be free from samsara altogether. And even more important than just this mere liberation from samsara is to achieve full enlightenment. And therefore, we must achieve full enlightenment ourselves. So, for success in attaining the whole path to enlightenment, listen to the Golden Light Sutra. This sutra directs our lives toward enlightenment. It helps us not to be reborn in lower realms. The very first thing, the immediate danger that we need to stop immediately without delaying even 1 second, is rebirth in the lower realm. We need a higher rebirth so we can continue to practice Dharma. All negative karma is purified by listening to this sutra. So, by the way, those of you on the Zoom, you have the sutra, right? You do? Okay. If not, it's available on FPMT website. But I think we had already shared it in the chat. Okay. Okay, someone else is going to share it on the chat now. Okay. So why then is the most immediate danger that we need to stop rebirth in the lower realm? Well, it's because, as we've seen, as we know, that death can come at any time. And because death can come at any time, and at our time of death, the consciousness will continue on to the next rebirth, then, it is said that which will come first, tomorrow or our next rebirth, no one can say for certain. And, because we're not at the point in the path where we can determine where our next rebirth is going to be, then we have to, be very vigilant in our actions, seeing that negative actions, negative karma, become the cause for lower rebirth, and virtue is the cause for higher rebirth. So this is actually the main practice of the initial capable being in the Lam Rim. Okay? So next. This text increases success, and especially for leaders like kings or presidents, it brings success for their guiding in virtue, the path to happiness. If you have problems, for anyone dying or dead, or if the devas have turned against you and nothing is working, or if merely by expressing yourself, your friends, loved ones, husband, wife, family members, and even servants get angry with you, if your wealth declines, or if you have harm from black magic or spirits, or if you have bad dreams or fearful things happening, then for all of these problems you should wash, put on clean clothes, and with peaceful mind listen to the transmission of this text. Then all will be pacified. Anyone who hears it creates much merit and is highly admired by the Buddhas. So we had mentioned, Rinpoche had started the oral transmission of this text here in this very Gompa, and then he wasn't able to complete, unfortunately. But two times. So the good news then for all of you is that Rinpoche did give the oral transmission in its totality, I think in Australia, and this full transmission is now available on YouTube. So if you YouTube and you YouTube search Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Golden Light Sutra, you'll see. The background is a bit green. I don't know, maybe there's something, but that's the one. Full 21 chapters. And so I wanted to mention a little bit. Ooh, let me have some water, please. Want to mention a little bit about this whole oral transmission. So the oral transmission, or lung in Tibetan, was a practice that is very much emphasized. So basically, oral transmission, the ones that we have today, they date back from the time of the Buddha. So when the Buddha gave the sutra, then all of his students heard it, and then those students would recite the sutra, their students would hear it, and in such a way the unbroken lineage of the blessings of the sutra have continued on to this day. This is okay for now, thank you. So, fortunately, the entire Kangyur, or all the sutras of the Buddha, that oral transmission lineage still exists in the world. The lineage of Lama Tsongkhapa's collected works still exists in the world. But of Lama Tsongkhapa's main two disciples, Khedrubje and Gyaltsabje, even that doesn't exist. Only selected parts. So only about half. So one of Rinpoche's great sort of activities and something he very much devoted a lot of time, energy, and resource to was trying to determine which of the lineages were at risk of being lost, and then to sponsor the transmission of it. So, he more recently, there's a text on Vinaya that I've been studying at Sera for the past 3 years, called Sotik, and it was actually composed by a Sakya Lama, But even though it was composed by a Sakya Lama, it was still studied today in the Gelugpa monasteries as the main text on Vinaya. So this text was very much at risk of losing the lineage of oral transmission. But there was one Lama who lives in Sopema, very famous holy site associated with Guru Padmasambhava. And Rinpoche sponsored the oral transmission of that text there. In any case, it is said that, the short-term benefit is then when you receive the oral transmission of a text, then in the future, when you recite it, the power of your recitation increases 100 times. But then, a little bit longer term, then it is said that when we attain a certain point on the path, we achieve what's called the Chudyun Gitingezin, or the concentration of continuous Dharma. And at that point, it happens when you're on the great path of accumulation of a bodhisattva. Okay, you're still not an Arya bodhisattva, but at that point, all of the oral transmissions you've ever received from beginningless time in samsara, you have perfect memory of all that. So I was trying to meditate on bodhicitta prior to my exam. That would have really helped. It didn't really work that way. But in any case, you can imagine, just it happens. And then also another thing that happens when you attain that state is what we normally see is statues. You can see them as the actual Nirmanakaya aspect of the Buddha and receive teachings. So yeah, right now we just see statues, but these bodhisattvas, they can, interact with them. Okay. At any rate, that's why then it's important to receive these oral transmissions. And even before we become bodhisattvas, it is said that in the future, when we then engage with these texts, we'll get better understanding. There is, one tulku, or recognized incarnation down at Seta Monastery, and apparently, I was told, when he came into the monastery at a very young age, he was reciting texts, and there was two texts, the Abhisamaya Alamkara and the Madhyamika Avatara. Anyway, the Ornament of Clear Realization by Maitreya and the Supplement to the Middle Way by Chandrakirti. And it is said that by reading those texts one time, he then had perfect memory of the whole text. Then he started to memorize the Dudra text. Dudra, it's like collected topics. It's the thing we study first. And he had such trouble. He couldn't memorize, although he tried. And so then it was said that, in his past life, he was renowned for knowing those other two texts and memorizing them and reciting them all the time. So these kinds of stories exist. So normally, right, what I was saying about the YouTube, normally in the past you have to, travel to where these oral transmissions were being given, and, it'd be very difficult. But Rinpoche, out of his kindness, out of his compassion, and also to show the importance in his mind about how, precious this text was, he then said, even anyone in the future who listens to this oral transmission of the Golden Light Sutra can get it, will get the full transmission. So, okay. I'm on the top of page 6. In whatever country this is taught, the whole country will benefit. The king of that country will not be attacked, and disease will be eliminated. Everyone will be happy, and the country will become harmonious and without quarrels. The king will give religious freedom and will always be protected by the devas. It is especially good to read this in places where there is a lot of fighting. As well, there will be a prosperity and rains will come at the right time. It would be excellent to go into countries where there is much killing and read this precious sutra 100 times or any number of times. That would be very valuable, very beneficial. So sometimes what I do when I travel, sometimes I'll have a layover, like in Doha, Qatar, somewhere, and on that layover, I will make it a point to at least recite, one chapter or even a little bit, because as we'll see in the sutra, then wherever even some small part of the sutra is recited, then various benefits accrue to that place, right? So anyone who keeps, memorizes, or contributes to the text exceeds 8 worldly beings, and all their wishes will be fulfilled. Buddha told the 4 guardians to make offerings and serve this text, and to always protect the people who memorize or even just read it. The 4 guardians acknowledged that they would protect those who read it and would help fulfill all their wishes. Memorizing or making offerings to this text is like making inconceivable offerings to Buddha. Enlightenment will never be reversed for anyone into whose ear these holy words are spoken. The life will always be directed toward enlightenment, and one will never fall back. The Deva Hamachiwa Pala told Buddha that she would protect the bhikshu who recites this text, and he will receive all that is needed, property, a stable mind, and so forth. Whoever even tries to read or understand this text will experience the comfort and happiness of devas and humans for 100 billion eons, fame and perfect crops, and will become Buddha. The earth goddess definitely will help, even if only one chapter or one bodhisattva's name is mentioned. She will protect those sentient beings who read and try to understand even one verse and will fulfill their wishes. Those sentient beings who hear only one verse will never go to the lower realms. The Buddha told the earth goddess that even if a person hears only one verse, they will be born in the Deva realm. Further, Buddha told that the earth goddess, the non-virtuous karma of a person who even hears one verse will be eliminated and they will achieve enlightenment. So, amazing. So what I thought we could do, right? I don't think we have time to recite the whole thing, but we can recite certain selections. And I also want to then pause and give a little bit, not exactly a commentary, but maybe a few hints. Okay? So what I thought we could do is recite the first chapter, the preamble, and then the second chapter, the fourth chapter, and then let's see how much time we have. I want to recite the chapter, I think it's 18 and 19, the chapter on the 10,000 fish disciples of Buddha and the chapter on the tigress. But let's start with chapter 1. Okay, so those of you in this Gompa, then you also have the other sutra in front of you.
Everyone doesn't.
Yeah, okay. So, and those of you on the Zoom don't have it. Okay. Yeah. Yes, let me grab one of these. So at the beginning, if you have this Sangata Sutra, then please turn to page 116. So those of you on the Zoom, you'll see there's this refuge and bodhicitta, and then the 7-limb prayer. So if you have the normal prayer book, you will know those prayers, okay? So it's on page 116 of the Sangata Sutra. Yeah. Yes, it's appendix. Yes, that one. Preliminaries to Sutra reading, yeah. Okay, good. We're going to share it to the group now. So while we're getting this shared, then it's very good. We visualize the Buddha and all the Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us. Think that they've come to this place now to give us inspiration. And actually, we can think that we're going to be receiving this teaching from the Buddha as we recite. And then we can also think that we're surrounded by all the sentient beings, and the sentient beings will be reciting along with us. We can think that we're the chant leader. Okay, I need to allow. Yes? Then I think it's allowed. Sorry, the technical difficulties. Okay. Yeah? Is it shared? Okay. So those of you on the Zoom, you can open up this file and go to Appendix C. Okay? All right. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly by my practice of giving and other perfections. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Then we have the seven limb prayer. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. So in a short mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, sun, moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and 3 precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the self-dual view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamnira Tayami. Then there's this multiplying mantra. So we recite that 7 times. So I've seen it as Tayata. Tayata Om Dari Dari Bandare Soha. 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 So then it says here, right, while reading or reciting the sutra, then you can visualize the Buddha is giving you the teaching directly while you hear the sutra, and you actualize the realizations in your heart while you're reciting. And then you can think that also as you recite, you visualize you're giving the teaching to sentient beings as you recite it out loud. And then finally, as you recite, and when you're finished, visualize that you and all all beings, hell beings, animals, and so on, are purified by unfathomable numbers of nectar beams coming from an unfathomable number of bodhisattvas. On this basis, visualize clearly that you and all the beings receiving teachings are generating extraordinary bliss and emptiness. Okay. So with that, chapter 1. So one thing also, when we recite in the monastery, right, we take the text, and they're not bound. If you've seen the Tibetan text, they have no binding. They're just loose pages that are wrapped in cloth, and we'll pass out the pages, and then as you finish, you then ask the person next to you, "Yeah, I'm done," and they'll give it. And in that way, we can, sometimes we have as a puja to recite the whole Kangyur, all the sutras. So at that time, we read very quickly. So here, when we recite, it's a little bit quick. Don't worry if you don't understand everything, because this is, primarily at this time for the imprints. Okay? Chapter 1. Chapter on the preamble to the King of Glory Sutras, the Sublime Golden Light. Homage to all the past, future, and present Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Pradeka Buddhas, and Shravakas. Thus I have heard at one time the Tathagata, entering the Buddha's domain of experience, the profound sphere of reality at Vulture Peak, expounded to the supreme Bodhisattvas who are pure and stainless this King of Sutras, the Sublime Golden Light, which is extremely profound upon hearing and profound upon examination. Buddhas in 4 directions confer their blessings from Akshobhya in the east, Ranaketu in the south, Amitabha in the west, and Dundubisvara in the north. In order to extinguish all unwholesome deeds, I will proclaim this auspicious sublime discourse that exhausts all negative karma, grants all peace and happiness, completely eliminates suffering, which is adorned with all that is glorious in its foundation of omniscience, granting blessings. This I shall explain. Sentient beings whose senses are defective, whose life expectancy has ended or is fading, whom gods have turned against, who are burdened by misfortune, hated by their loved ones, or oppressed as household servants, in conflict with one another, afflicted with decline in material wealth, grief-stricken and miserable, ridden with fear and stricken by poverty, troubled by stars, planetary bodies, and fierce demonic spirits, or who see excruciating nightmares following grief and fatigue, they should bathe well to render themselves clean and listen to the Sublime Sutra. Should those who, with virtuous intent and pure mind, adorn themselves well in clean garments, then listen to the Sutra on the Profound, the domain of Buddha's experience, through the awe-inspiring power of the Sutra, the suffering of creatures, the like of which cannot be endured, will be forever pacified. Protection will be offered to them by the guardians of the world, their ministers and army chiefs, tens of thousands of millions of yakshas, the great goddess Sarasvati, and the goddess who dwells in the Naranjana, by Hariti, the mother of Bhutas, the earth goddess Dirda, by the Brahma kings and the kings of the 33, the powerful kings and serpents, king of Kananas and king of Asuras, like by the king of Garudas. They, with their clans and might, will arrive along with their mounts unfailing day and night to offer protection to beings. I will clearly expound the Sutra on the Profound, the domain of the Buddhist experience. The secret of all Buddha is difficult to find in tens of millions of eons. Those who hear this sutra, who cause others to hear it and rejoice upon hearing it, and make offerings to it for tens of millions of eons, shall be generated by gods and nagas, humans and kinnaras, asuras and yakshas. For beings without merit, the store of their merit will grow into a limitless, incalculable, inconceivable mass. Fiercely they will be protected by Buddhas in 10 directions, likewise also by bodhisattvas engaged in the profound, clad in clean garments, wearing well-perfumed clothes, possessing a mind firm with love. Without distraction, one should honor the sutra, render the mind spotless, put forth effort to make it expansive and intensely clear, then listen to the Sublime Sutra. Those who listen to the sutra will be acclaimed among humans, attain an excellent human existence, and live a life of comfort. Into those into whose ears the sublime discourse is echoed will have roots of merit refined, and numerous Buddhas will extol them. This ends the first chapter, the chapter on the preamble to the King of Glory Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light. So that talks just, a little bit about the benefits of those hearing. And so it also says, to clean, bathe well, and wear clean clothes. So also something to bear in mind. You know, in a later chapter, it also talks about the benefits of offering incense to the sutra. Is there incense lit here? Maybe we can do. It's very good. It says something like, you know, when one offers incense to the sutra, it's not just offering one stick of incense, but yeah, very good. So Nico is doing very good, offering two. Yeah, it's good. Oh, there we go. Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. So you can think we're offering this incense. Then it says in the sutra, although you even offer one stick, when you offer to the sublime Golden Light Sutra, then it's like the whole universe is pervaded with incense, and you're offering that. So incense in particular is the cause of pure morality, and therefore it's a very good practice to do. Many, especially here, it's coming up to Diwali, then a lot of people like light offerings, right? It's kind of nice. But actually, each of these offerings that we make, flour, food, light, incense, and so forth, they all have a different karmic ripening effect. So it's good to make a variety of different kinds of offerings. Okay. So chapter 2, let's do that. Okay. Chapter 2, the chapter on the span of the Tathagata's life. Furthermore, at that time, during that period, in the great city of Rajgiriya, there dwelt the Bodhisattva, the great being Ruchiraketu, who had venerated previous Buddhas, cultivated roots of virtue, and rendered service to many hundreds of thousands of millions of Buddhas. He thought to himself, what cause and what condition will cause the Lord Shakyamuni to live for only 80 years? That is such a short life. Furthermore, he thought, the Lord himself has declared there are two causes and two conditions which prolong life. What are the two? They are namely renouncing killing and giving food wholly. As for the Lord Shakyamuni, he renounced killing for many incalculable hundreds of thousands of countless millions of eons. He perfectly adhered to the path of the 10 virtuous actions. He gave away food and external and internal objects completely. Not only that, he satisfied sentient hungry living beings with flesh, blood, bones, and marrow of his own body. Then, while this sublime being entertained such thoughts with regard to the Tathagata, his house transformed to a vast and expansive palace made of lapis lazuli, embellished with numerous divine jewels, its color transformed by the Tathagata and filled with perfumes surpassing those of gods. In the four directions emerged 4 thrones made of divine jewels. These thrones came to be, covered with mats of divine jewels and fine cotton raiment, and on those thrones appeared divine lotuses adorned with numerous jewels, their color transformed by the Tathagata. From those lotuses there arose 4 transcendent victor Buddhas. In the east there appeared the Tathagata Akshobhya, in the south appeared the Tathagata Ratnaketu, in the west appeared the Tathagata Amitayas, in the north appeared the Tathagata Dundumbishvara. When those Tathagatas appeared on those 9 thrones, the great city of Rajgiriya was filled with bright light. That light pervaded all triple thousands, great thousand world systems, 10 directions, world systems, as many as grains of sand in the Ganges River. In addition, divine flowers rained down, and divine music resounded. Through the power of the Buddha, all sentient beings in triple great thousand world systems too became possessed of the joy of the gods. Beings whose senses were incomplete became possessed of complete senses. Beings blind from birth saw forms with the eyes. Deaf beings heard sounds with the ears. Insane beings regained their sanity. Distracted beings became focused. Naked beings became clothed in garments. Hungry beings became full-bellied. Thirsty beings were quenched. Beings afflicted with illness became free of disease. Beings whose bodily organs were defective became possessed of complete organs. Many astounding events took place in the world. Upon seeing those Buddhas, the Bodhisattva Ruchiraketu was greatly astounded. He was satiated, pleased, joyful, and delighted, feeling happy and ecstatic. With hands folded in direction of the Tathagatas, he bowed in homage, remembering those Tathagatas. Then, reflecting on the qualities of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, he was vexed with misgiving about the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha. He wondered, how is it that the Lord Shakyamuni will live a brief life of only 80 years? Then those Tathagatas, while knowing and realizing his thoughts, spoke to him thus: O child of noble family, do not think the Lord Shakyamuni will have such a short lifespan. Why? Because, O child of noble family, except for the perfectly and fully enlightened conqueror Tathagatas, we don't see among the world of gods, Mars, or Brahmas, among the ascetics and Brahmins, gods, humans, or asuras, anyone who could perceive the furthest future reaches of the lifespan of the Tathagata Lord Shakyamuni. As soon as those Tathagatas expressed this observation on the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, then by the power of the Tathagata, the gods residing in the desire and form realms, including Nagas, Yakshas, Gandhavas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, and Mahoragas, as well as numerous hundreds of millions, thousands of millions of Bodhisattvas gathered and went to the house of the Bodhisattva Richivaketu. Then those Tathagatas proclaimed in verse this explanation on the lifespan of Tathagata Shakyamuni to the entire gathering. The drops of water in all the oceans can be measured, but no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. To the finest particles of the atoms of Mount Sumer can be gauged, but no one can gauge the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number of finest particles existing on earth can be measured, but not the span of the conqueror's life. Although through some device one may wish to measure space, no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number cannot be found that explains the fully enlightened Buddha lives this long and this many eons in eon terms, such as 100 million eons. There are two causes and two conditions for this: renouncing deadly violence and repeatedly giving plentiful food. The finite count of lifespan of this great being that explains he who lived for this many eons cannot be found. The eons are indeed uncountable. Hence, have no doubt. Not even the slightest doubt, the finite limit of the conqueror's life is not observed. Then at the time, the assembly of Brahmin teacher and expounder called Vinaya, along with numerous thousands of Brahmins, venerated the Tathagata. On hearing the voice of those great Tathagatas, completely gone beyond sorrow, they gathered in place at once. Bowing at the feet of the Tathagata, the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Dhyana said to the Tathagata, "If the Lord transcendent victor is merciful to all living beings, compassionate, desirous, giving, parent to all, equal to the unequal, illuminating like the moon, wisdom and knowledge glowing like the sun, if you look upon all beings as your son Rahula, then please give me some guidance." The Tathagata remained silent. Then through the power of the Tathagata in that assembly conference grew in a Lachavi youth called Savalokya Priya Darshadana, and he spoke thus to the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Vinaya. "Why do you seek guidance, great Brahmin? From the Buddha I will give you the guidance you seek." The Brahmin said, "For the sake of honoring the Buddha Livachi youth, and for the sake of receiving a share of relic powder, I wish to have a relic of the Buddha the size of mustard seed. It is said that if one honors the relic the size of mustard seed, one attains lordship over the gods of the 33. Listen, O Lichavi youth, to the King's Glory Sutras of the Lhabab Golden Light, which has features and qualities such as being difficult for our Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas to know and comprehend. O Lichavi youth, the sublime Sutra of Sublime Golden Light in this way is difficult to know and difficult to comprehend. Hence we Brahmins of remote areas wish to have a relic size of mustard seed, which when held, either placed in a bowl or kept on the body, causes living beings to attain lordship over the gods of the 33. Why wouldn't you, O Lichavi youth, wish to receive a relic size of mustard seed from the Tathagata and keep it in an urn, so that beings may attain lordship over the gods of the 33? O Lichavi youth, I seek such a boon." Then Sarvalokya Priya Darshana, the Livachi youth, replied in verse to the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Vinaya. "When white lilies grow in Ganges, or swift currents, when crows become red and cuckoos turn the color of conch, when palm fruit grows on the rose apple tree, and on date tree mangoes form, at that time the relic the size of mustard seed will appear. When from tortoise hair a cloth shielding winter's bite can be woven well, then there will be a relic. When from legs of gnats multi-stellar towers can be well built, solidly firm, never shaking, then there will be a relic. When all leeches grow white teeth, sharp and big, then there will be a relic. When from the horns of rabbits ladders can be built well in order to climb high, then there will be a relic. Climbing this ladder, should a mouse eat the moon and harm Rahu as well, then there will be a relic. When bees that buzz in town drink a pitcher of wine and make a dwelling in the house, then there will be a relic. When donkeys become happy, well versed in singing and dancing, their lips ready like the bimba fruit, then there will be a relic. When owls and crows flock to solitude, flock together and become friendly, then there will be a relic. When the leaves of the pasalash tree become an umbrella made of 3 jewels that keeps off rain, then there will be a relic. When large ocean vessels fitted with turning devices and sails float and set sail on land, then there will be a relic. When owls move freely, lifting the Gandhamandana mountain in their beaks, then there will be a relic. After hearing these verses, the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Vinaya replied to Sarvalokya Priya Darshana, the Livachi youth, excellent, supreme youth, son of the Buddha, great orator, heroic and skillful in means, you have received the sublime prophecy. Listen to me, O youth, concerning the inconceivable greatness of the Tathagata, the protector and savior of the world. The realm of Buddhas is inconceivable, and Tathagatas are peerless. All Buddhas are ever serene. All Buddhas are perfectly emerged. Buddhas are of the same hue. This is the such as Buddha. Lord Transcendent Victor is uncontrived, Tathagata is unborn, his body, heart is a Vajra, manifest, emanated forms. Thus no small relic as a mustard seed of the great sages to be found. Since a body cannot be, is without blood and bone, how can there be a relic? Yet, to benefit living beings, skillfully relics are formed. Dharmakaya, this complete Buddha, Dharmadhatu, the Tathagata, akin to the teaching of the Dharma, these are the body of the Lord. Because I heard and knew this, I sought this sublime gift to make this truth plain and clear. Thus I initiated this discourse. Then, having heard such profound explanation of the Tathagata's span of life, all 32,000 sons of God generate altruistic resolve for peerless and perfect enlightenment. Their minds filled with intense joy, they spoke these verses in a single voice. The Buddha does not enter in complete nirvana, neither does the Dharma cease to be, yet for ripening of beings, Tathagata is manifest, passing beyond suffering. The transcendent victor Buddha is inconceivable. Though the Tathagata's body is permanent, it pervades a multitude of forms for the welfare of sentient beings. Having heard these discourses, explains the lifespan of Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha from these Tathagatas and also two great beings, the Bodhisattva Ruchipaketu was thoroughly satiated, pleased, extremely delighted and filled with joy. He was overwhelmed with great bliss of mind while this discourse on Tathagata's span of life was being given. Inconceivable countless sentient beings generated altruistic resolve for peerless and perfect enlightenment. Then those Tathagatas vanished in that very spot. This ends the second chapter, the chapter on the span of Tathagata's life from the King's Glory Sutras, Supreme Golden Light. Okay, let me pause here and just say something. So, this is very pertinent to us now. Those of you who were students of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who unfortunately passed away in this April, it came as such a shock to us, or many of us. And then this thought comes like, oh, how could this happen, right? So here, this verse here, right? The Buddha does not enter complete nirvana, neither does the Dharma cease to be, yet for the ripening of beings, Tathagata is manifest, passing beyond suffering. The transcendent victor Buddha is inconceivable, though the Tathagata's body is permanent. It pervades a multitude of forms for the welfare of sentient beings, right? So even, the historical Buddha passing away into parinirvana, he only spent 80 years. And so the questioner here in the sutra was asking, hey, how can the Buddha only appear for 80 years, right? Because the causes for a long life is giving up, killing, and also giving food, giving charity, and the Buddha had perfected those. So in general, this is very true. All the Buddhas have attained what's called the Vajra body. And it is said, historically, that, the Shakyamuni Buddha was the fourth Buddha of this fortunate eon. And the fifth one being Maitreya, yeah? And it is said that, the other Buddhas, they remained for a long time, inconceivably long. It is said that Maitreya will live for 80,000 years. It's said that the other Buddhas, also lived extremely long time. So Ananda, who is Buddha's disciple, it was said that, before Buddha passed away, and this is why now we saw in the seven limb prayer, why we request the Buddha to remain until the end of samsara. Because the Buddhas don't teach, the Buddhas don't remain unless, we request them. It's a dependent arising. So Ananda, who is the Buddha's attendant, sort of was obscured, confused by Mara. The Mara is a sort of demonic force, right? You can think of as a demonic being that does not want the Buddha to remain in the world because, of course, the demons want there to be evil and bad and destruction in the world. So Ananda was obscured. And when he was with Buddha, Buddha was sort of hinting that, in general, the Tathagata has the ability to remain until the end of the eon. So at that time, Ananda should have requested, oh yes, please remain until the end of the samsara, the end of the eon. But he didn't. So later in the council, the other elders, Ananda was criticized for this, and was censured by the other senior monks, that you should have requested the Buddha to remain. So this is my thought, that whenever we have the opportunity, even when the teacher is making little hints and is going to say, like, oh, I'm going to pass away soon, ha ha ha, right there, without delay, say, no, Rinpoche or Your Holiness or whoever, please remain until the end of samsara. So nonetheless, even this, right, the Buddha passing away was to help the sentient beings overcome the strong grasping to permanence. And here now, us Rinpoche's disciples, we also have to use that opportunity to assess our own level of insight into impermanence. And if you were like myself, completely shocked, then it just shows that our kind of understanding how much this teaching on impermanence is really sunken into our hearts is still quite surface level. So anyway, like that. Okay. So next, so chapter 3 is just this little page, but chapter 4 I wanted to also read. Chapter 4 is perhaps the most important chapter. This is my opinion. Now, if you have a very good knowledge and recollection of Lamrim Chenmo, you will know that actually Lama Tsongkhapa refers to the Golden Light Sutra 2 times. One is in the section on how to purify previously accumulated negative karma. He says it can be purified by doing confession, either from 35 Buddhist practice, right, which is what we do, the prostrations to 35 Buddhas, and the chapter of confession on from the Golden Light Sutra, which is what we're about to read. Okay. 22. And the other place where it is mentioned is in the context of bodhicitta and the kind of aspirational prayers to make. And actually, we'll see here, although it's in the chapter of confession, after the main body of the confession is done, there are some unbelievably beautiful aspirational prayers to kind of further our bodhicitta. Okay, so this is kind of similar to even Shantideva's Bodhisattva way of life. Of course, there's a dedication chapter at the end, but in the I think third and fourth chapter, it's the full acceptance of the awakening mind, where there's this ceremony to take the Bodhisattva vows, and in the context of that, there's confession, because you will do the 7-limb prayer before doing the taking of the Bodhisattva vows. And then even after that, there are some beautiful verses of dedication. So I thought we could do this chapter of confession, but as we know, actually what makes the confession powerful is not just reciting this, but having the full 4 opponent powers. So there's refuge. We talked about this, right? Refuge, regret. So regret is knowing our negative actions as being negative. So we can think all the 10 non-virtues, all the broken vows, all the times we disobeyed our guru, disturbed his holy mind, all the, 3 kinds of vows that we've broken, everything we've done, negative in relation to the 3 jewels, our parents, our spiritual friends, and so forth. All of these from beginningless time, we see that the weight of this negative karma is so heavy. It's going to have us, if we don't purify right this second, it's going to cause rebirth in the lower realms. If we don't purify right this second, it's going to create obstacles for us to achieving realizations in the future. As we know, from Lama Tsongkhapa's own life story, he was even having direct visions of Manjushri, but that was not enough for him. So he went into retreat and did the 100,000 prostrations to each of the 35 Buddhas, right? So 3.5 million prostrations doing it. And of course, many mandala offerings, many other practices to purify his mind of these obscurations, which, okay, yes, they will cause us to take rebirth in the lower realm. But for us aspiring Mahayana practitioners, even worse is that they create obstacles for us to achieve realization of bodhicitta, of emptiness, of these other, realizations on the path. So then, regret. Then the remedy here, the confession of this, will be the remedy. Some virtue that we do to counteract the non-virtue. And then lastly, the resolve. Resolve not to do these negative actions again in the future. So, okay. So, okay. Chapter 4, chapter on confession. One night without distraction, I dreamed a vivid dream. I saw a large and beautiful drum filling the world with golden light and glowing like the sun, brimming brightly to all places. It was seen from the 10 directions. Everywhere Buddhas were seated on thrones of precious lapis. At the foot of jeweled trees facing assembly of many hundreds of thousands. I saw the form like that of a Brahmin fiercely beat upon the drum, and when he struck it, these verses issued forth. By the sound of his majestic drum of golden light, may the suffering of lower migration, yama, and poverty of 3 realms, of the triple 1,000 worlds cease to be. By the sound of this majestic drum, may the ignorance of the world be dispelled, with fears quelled, just as vanquishing sages are unafraid. May sinning beings become fearless and brave, just as the omniscient vanquishing sage in the world is possessed of every excellence of the Aryas. May countless beings too possess ocean of qualities, concentration, and the wings of enlightenment. By the sound of the majestic drum, may all beings be endowed with that melody of Brahma. May they touch the sublime enlightenment of Buddhas. May they turn the virtuous wheel of Dharma. Remaining for inconceivable eons, may they teach the Dharma to guiding, migrating beings, conquering delusion and overcoming affliction. May their attachment, hatred, and ignorance be pacified. May sinning beings who have fallen to lower migrations, whose body of bone are alight with blazing flame, hear the speech of this majestic drum. May the proclamation, homage to Tathagata, be heard. In the course of hundreds of births and tens of thousands and millions of births, may every being remember their former lives, hear these teachings completely, and always recall the vanquishing sages. By the sound of this majestic drum, may beings always find the company of Buddhas. Through thoroughly renouncing every harmful act, may they engage only in virtuous deeds. For humans, gods, and all creatures, whatever thoughts and wishes they have, may their every wish be totally fulfilled by the sound of the majestic drum. For beings born in the most terrible hells, body alight with blazing flame, who wander without aim, bereft of refuge, filled with grief, may the tormenting fires utterly end. For those who bear the suffering of humans, hell beings, animals, and hungry ghosts, may every suffering be completely dispelled by the sound of the majestic drum. For those who are without refuge, without base, support, or friend, may I become the supreme refuge, their base, support, and friend. Supreme being, O Buddhas, dwelling in the world of 10 directions, with merciful, compassionate mind, please pay attention to me. O Buddhas, possessed of 10 powers, those terrible, wicked acts I have committed in the past, before your eyes I confess them all. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, not holding parents as parents, not holding Buddhas as Buddhas, not upholding virtuous deeds, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, haughty with the vanity of wealth, haughty with age and youthfulness, haughty with the pride of affluence and class, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done through harmful thoughts, harmful words, through the thought of harm is harmless and harmful actions done. Whatever unwholesome deeds I have done, acting with the mind of a child, and a mind dark with ignorance, or under the sway of a non-virtuous friend, greatly charged with emotion, discontent with wealth, afflicted with depression and malaise, or under the influence of a frivolous play. Whatever unwholesome deeds I have done through mixing with vile characters of non-Aryas, through jealousy and miserliness, through poverty and guile. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done when poverty came to me, fearing the loss of the desirable and stricken with the dearth of material goods. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done under the power of flighting mind, ruled by desire and hatred, or oppressed by hunger and thirst. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done when oppressed by affliction for the sake of pursuing women, or acquiring food, drink, and attire. Through misdeeds of body, speech, and mind, I've amassed threefold wrong acts. In these 3 ways, whatever I've done, these deeds I confess in full. Whatever I've done disrespecting the Buddhas, Dharma, and Shravakas too, these deeds I confess in full. Actions I've done lacking respect to Pratyeka Buddhas, and well to bodhisattvas, these deeds I confess in full. Disrespect I have shown to those who preach the Dharma, likewise contempt for the Dharma itself, these deeds I confess in full. Continually unaware of this benefit, I have rejected the sublime Dharma. I have shown unwitting insolence to parents, these deeds I confess in full. Childish and veiled by stupidity, blind with desire and hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and pride, these deeds I confess in full. Honoring those who possess 10 powers, I shall worship those dwelling in all directions. I shall deliver sentient beings inhabiting every realm from all suffering. I shall place uncountable beings upon Bodhisattva's 10 grounds, abiding these 10 stages. May they all become Tathagatas until I am capable of freeing them all from countless oceans of suffering. For 10 million eons I shall strive for the sake of even one sentient being. To these sentient beings I shall reveal the sutra called Sublime Golden Light, which rids one from every harmful misdeeds and expounds upon the profound. Those for 1,000 eons committed deadly and wholesome deeds, by confessing them earnestly once through the sutra, all will be purified. Swiftly and wholly consuming all common obscurations by making confession through the sublime golden light, I shall abide on 10 bodhisattvas ground, those minds of supreme precious jewels, that I may shine with Tathagata's marks and signs and beings, and free beings from the ocean of existence. Through Buddhas who are water of oceans, and their inconceivable Tathagata qualities akin to the ocean's profound depths, I shall evolve into an omniscient being. Having become a Buddha, I shall possess 10 powers, hundreds of thousands of concentrations, inconceivable magic mantra incantations, enlightenment, 7 wings, 5 powers, 5 forces. O Buddhas who continue to look upon beings, I request you to gaze intently upon me. Your compassionate minds, always overflowing, may you hold the remorseful always near. Due to countless sinful actions performed in hundreds of eons past, my mind is pierced and stricken with grief, wretchedness, sorrow, and fear. Soundly fearing whole and wholesome deeds, I shall always keep my mind modest. Whatever I commit, the smallest action, I will not succumb to frivolous excitement. Since Buddhas are compassionate and dispel the fright of all beings, I entreat them to hold a remorseful fast and free us from every fear. May the Tathagatas keep at bay my negative karma and emotion. May the Buddhas always bathe me with the water of their compassion. I confess all unwholesome deeds, whatever I've done in the past, whatever is done in the present. These deeds I confess in full. I shall not conceal nor hide harmful actions I have done, and in future times I shall refrain from deeds that render me full of shame. 3 actions of the body, 4-fold of the voice, 3-fold of the mind, these deeds I confess in full. Action I have done through my body, speech, and mind. Body and speech clearly impelled by the mind, these 10-fold actions I accomplish, these deeds I confess in full. Renouncing the 10 unwholesome actions and cultivating the 10 which are moral, I will come to abide on 10 grounds and acquire the Buddha's 10 great powers. Every unwholesome deed I have done that leads to unwanted results, in the presence of the Buddhas, these deeds I confess in full. In the wholesome virtuous deeds of those dwelling in Jambudvipa, all those living in other worlds too, in these deeds I rejoice. Likewise, whatever merit I have gathered through body, speech, and mind, by the force of this virtue's ripening effect, may supreme enlightenment be attained. Deeds committed on samsara's precarious wheel, those actions influenced by a childish mind approaching the presence of the peerless 10 powers, all these deeds I confess individually through feeble birth, feeble existence, feeble world, and feeble volatile mind. The multitudes of physical actions, this mass of evil deeds I confess in full. Wretched with delusion of the childish and foolish, wretched with association with non-virtuous friend, wretched with resistance, wretched with desire, wretched with hatred, wretched with ignorance, wretched with fatigue, wretched with time, and wretched in accomplishing virtue. I approach incomparable conquerors and confess all negative deeds individually. I prostrate to the Buddha's ocean of virtue. Golden like Mount Sumeru, going for refuge, I bow my head in prostration to the golden conquerors. Their compassionate light dispels the double mantle of darkness. The Buddhas are suns, blazing glorious with splendor and renown. Golden in color, eyes fine as pure flawless lapis, they glow with the glitter of pure gold. Their exquisite and beautiful limbs are utterly flawless and perfectly formed from pristine limbs. The Buddha's sons radiate shaft of golden light. Consumed by the flame of negative passion, sinning beings blaze like fire. They are refreshed and soothed by the moonlight light of Buddhas. 32 major marks that render senses exquisitely refined. Their awe-inspiring limbs are graced by 8 minor signs, filled with merit and glory like splendid rays of spinning light. They orbit as does the sun in the darkness of the triple realms. Pure as lapis with a rich array of color, exquisitely adorned by myriad webs of light. Your limbs resemble crystal. You are like the son of sages, you are enchanted glories. For those fallen into the great river of psychic existence, tossed amid crushing waves of sorrow and death, may abundant immense rays of sun, that is Tathagata, split the ocean of samsara violently cruel. With limbs shining brightly, color of gold, from some source peerless among the three realms, their limbs are adorned with intensely charming marks. I prostrate to Buddhas, whose bodies sparkle gold. Just as the water in the ocean cannot be measured, just as the dust on earth is utterly without end, just as Mount Sumer possesses matchless stone, just as the edge of space is infinitely unknown, likewise the virtues of Buddha are limitless. If sentient beings took the measure of their qualities and for countless eons reflected upon them, still the extent of their virtue could not be seen. If counted for eons, one could possibly know water droplets, the hair ends, or particles of earth and earth, mountains, ocean and rock, but not the limit of Buddha's virtue. May sentient beings evolve into such Buddha's grace with virtue, color, fame, and renown, their bodies embellished. Major marks of goodness and sublime 80 minor signs. Through these virtuous actions, I shall soon become Buddha on this earth. Preaching the darkness that guides the world, I shall free beings forever afflicted by suffering. I shall triumph over Mara with his army and might. I shall turn the wheel of virtuous Dharma. Abiding for inconceivable eons, I shall satisfy sentient beings with the water of Dharma's nectar. Just as conquerors of the path completed 6 perfections, these perfections too I shall fully achieve. My ignorance, hatred, and desire pacified, I shall conquer delusion and dispel pain. I shall always remember my former birth, the existences of 10 millions of lives. Always recalling vanquishing sages, I shall listen to their teachings in full. Through these virtuous actions, I shall always find the company of Buddhas. Accomplishing virtue, the source of every excellence, I shall thoroughly renounce unwholesome deeds. May creatures of samsaric various realms be at peace without misery of their worlds. May beings who lack sense faculties or hold defective ones be endowed with powers complete. For beings feeble in body, afflicted with disease, and all 10 directions devoid of defense, may they swiftly be free of their ailments, obtain perfect senses, strength, and good health. Those imperiled by threats, king of thugs, tormented by numerous hundreds of afflictions, may these beings, wretched, weak with sorrow, be freed from hundreds of horrific fears. For those who are tortured, bound, beaten, distressed by passion, or captured by delusion, may these beings, fearful, faced with sorrow, be free from shackles of bondage. May those who are beaten find freedom from beating. May those facing murder be endowed with life. May those who are feeble be without fear. May beings tortured by hunger, craving, and thirst immediately find a wealth of food and drink. May the blind see an abundance of forms, and deaf hear captivating sounds. May the naked find plentiful attire. May the food find mines of treasure. Through wealth of riches, grains, and jewels, may beings be endowed with serenity and joy. May all beings be attractive and handsome, endowed with exquisite, beautiful, and auspicious forms. May life be replete with infinite joy. As soon as they wish, may there be immediately food, drink, great affluence, and merit. Large drums, lutes, and piwang, springs, pools, water holes, and ponds imbued with blue and golden lotuses. Likewise, may they receive at once food, drink, clothing, and wealth, gems like lapis, golden ornaments, pearls, and jewels. May no sign of woe be heard anywhere in the world, and not one being in poor health be seen. Instead, may they have great complexion. In each other's radiance, may they mutually shine. Whatever forms of excellence there are in the human world, wherever they're wished for, may these come to be. The moment they arise through the ripening of virtue, may the aspirations of sentient beings be fulfilled. May perfume, incense, garlands, and ornaments, clothing, powder, and abundant flowers rain down from trees 3 times. Thus may sentient beings be filled with joy. May they venerate inconceivable Tathagatas in all 10 directions, completing Bodhisattvas, Shravakas, and likewise the flawless, pristine Dharma. May migrating beings avoid the lower realms. May they go to beyond the 8 unfortunate states. May they attain the 8 auspicious conditions. May meetings with Buddhas always be received. Always born in higher classes, may beings replete with wealth and with grain. For numerous eons, may they be endowed with great form, renown, complexion, and fame. May all women become like men, heroic, learned, lucid, and strong, endeavoring to the 6 perfections. May they incessantly strive for enlightenment. May they come to behold Buddhas in 10 directions, seated at ease upon precious lapis thrones, under bejeweled, exquisite, stately trees. May they hear the Buddha's Dharma explain, unwholesome deeds I performed and created in wretched existence past. May those negative effects which ripen due to deeds be completely extinguished. May those who are tied to existence, tightly bound by the rope of cyclic round, unravel their bondage with wisdom hand and quickly be freed from all suffering. Whatever beings here in Jambudvipa and other world spirits too perform profound virtuous acts, in these deeds I rejoice in full. Through the merit of the actions of body, speech, and mind, through rejoicing in the virtue, may every fruit of my prayers and practice unfold. May pristine, peerless enlightenment be attained. Those who recite this dedication, who prostrate and praise the unsoiled mind, always devout and free from stains, shall avoid terrible rebirth for 60 eons. By reciting these verses, men, women, Brahmins, and royals who praise conquerors with folded hands will remember their birth in every life. They shall receive bodies adorned with complete limbs and senses, myriad virtues and virtue. Humans will always honor them. This will be in each place of birth. Those into whose ear this confession enters have not performed virtue under just one Buddha, nor two, not four, nor five, nor 10, nor in the presence of merely 1,000 Buddhas have they completed virtue. This ends the 4th chapter on confession from the King of Glory Sutras. I'm going like, beautiful, huh? So, let's turn to page 123. So, this is the chapter on the tigress, very, very inspirational. It recounts the story from one of the Buddha's past lives. And those of you might have gone to Nepal and Namo Buddha, which is the place where this event supposedly took place a long time ago. So, chapter 18, chapter on the tigress. Furthermore, O noble goddess, a bodhisattva gives away even their body and life to help others. How is that so? Accompanied by 1,000 bhikshus, the Tathagata, projecting bright rays of hundreds of pure vast virtues to heaven and earth, possessing power to eclipse challengers with unobstructed wisdom, sight, and power, was passing through a certain region, Panchalas, when they came to a certain forest. He saw in the area, lush with dark green soft grass and embellished with a sort of fragrant meadow flowers. Seeing this, Tathagata said to the Venerable Ananda, the site is beautiful, Ananda. It has the mark of being a place of Dharma teaching. Lay a seat for the Tathagata. As instructed by the Tathagata, a seat was set up. Having set up the seat, Ananda said to the Tathagata, Chief and supreme among bipeds, freeing beings from bondage, you bestow supreme benefit upon humans. Be seated, and may the nectar of sublime discourse for the benefit of humans kindly be given. Then Tathagata sat on the seat and addressed the bhikshus in this way. Would you like to see the remains of Bodhisattva who perform tasks that are difficult to perform? When just in this way, those bhikshus replied to Tathagata, O sublime sage, for us to see the remains of one, the best of supreme beings, in whom rested inconceivable virtues of immense patience, fortitude, and wisdom, delight and calm, humility, and the mind of recollection. Tell us well. Then Tathagata struck the surface of the earth with his hand, whose palm was soft as newly bloomed lotus and marked with a 1,000-spoke wheel. As soon as he struck it, the earth shook in 6 ways, and there rose a stupa made of silver, gold, and jewels. Then Tathagata said to the Venerable Ananda opened the stupa. Heeding these instructions, the Venerable Ananda opened the stupa. Inside he saw an urn covered with gold and inlaid with jewels and pearls. Having seen this, he said to the Tathagata, O transcendent Lord, there is an urn made of gold. The Tathagata said, open these 7 urns. Accordingly, he opened them. He saw relics whose color were like snow and white lilies. Seeing this, the Venerable Ananda said to the Tathagata, O transcendent Lord, there are relics. Then the Tathagata said, Ananda, bring here the relics of the great being. Then the Venerable Ananda took those relics and brought them to the Tathagata, taking the relics to the 1,000 bhikshus and holding them in his hand. The Tathagata addressed them in this way. Here are the bones of ones who, endowed with excellent virtue and supreme intellect, humility, meditation, delight through patience and sublime fame, one who continually strove for the wisdom of his enlightenment, intelligent and possessing steadfast, joyous perseverance, he always delighted in giving. thousand bhikshus, O bhikshus, offer homage to the Bodhisattva's relics, fully charged with ethics and virtue, which are field of merit and are extremely rare to see. And then their hearts filled with aspiration, those bhikshus paid homage to the relics with hands folded in reverence. Then, with hands folded, the Venerable Nanda addressed the Tathagata in this way. Tathagata, transcendent victor, is risen above the world and is venerated by all beings. How is that the Tathagata venerates these remains? Then the Tathagata replied in this way to the Venerable Ananda. It is because of these relics that I quickly awoke to peerless and supreme enlightenment, Ananda. Formerly, a long time past, there was a king called Maharata who possessed chariots, who had the great power and defeated opponents through unobstructed might and strength. He had 3 sons who were like sons of gods, Mahaprananda, Mahadeva, and Mahasattva. One day the king went to a park for sport, and charmed by the enchanting qualities of the park and wishing to find flowers, princes ran about and entered the great Dundaravasan Gulma forest. As the princes ran about, their attendants were dismissed, and they went their own way. The princes entered the thick walled forest of that fully protected forest reserve. Then Mahaprananda spoke to his brothers. My heart is overwhelmed by fear we might be killed by a wild beast. Stay close. Mahadeva said, as for me, I have no fear, but I am anxious I might be separated from my loved one. Mahasattva said, here in the forest solitude, acclaimed by seers, I am not anxious, nor have I fear. Heart and mind is greatly overjoyed in hope of finding opportunity for vast and great benefit. Then, as princes strolled through the Dvadashavana Gulma forest, they came by a tigress who had given birth previous week, surrounded by her offspring. Hungry and thirsty, famished, her body extremely feeble. Seeing her, Mahaprananda said, alas, it would be 6 or 7 days since this wretch gave birth. She has not found food. She will die of starvation or devour her own cubs. To this, Mahasattva said, what is the food of this wretch? Mahaprananda said, here they say fresh meat and warm blood is food suitable for tigers, bears, hyenas, and lions. Mahadeva said, this wretch, cursed by torture, by hunger and thirst, has little life left. She is extremely feeble and cannot look for food. Who sacrificed their life to save hers? Mahaprananda said, oh, good fellows, giving one's body is a daunting task. Mahasattva said, for people like us, feeble-minded and greatly attached to the body, such an act is difficult indeed. However, great beings embark on giving their body completely and dauntlessly strive for others' welfare. Moreover, born affectionate, love, and compassion are beings who consider their bodies just as obtained in heaven or on this earth. Their joyous minds most agreeable to saving others' lives, remaining steadfast, would have hundredfold compassion in this case. Feeling very sad, the young prince looked into the tiger's for a great time without blinking, and then went on his way. Mahasattva had this thought, now the time has come for me to give this body away. Why? Although I have long guarded this future body subject to death and decay, providing with food and drink, pulling vehicles and luxurious beds, ultimately is doomed to crumble and end in woe. Body has no purpose save to abandon such unknown nature. Furthermore, since it is wholly impure, it will not endure. Now she uses it for a noble end. Thus it shall be for me like a boat crossing the ocean of death and rebirth. Moreover, this body, given this body possessed of hundreds of abscess-like existences, filled with feces and urine without core-like form, bearing hundreds of worms, laying to waste to what has been done, I shall attain thee, Dharmakaya, timelessly free of aggregates, sorrowless, endowed with samadhi, replete with hundreds of stainless virtues, his heart brimming with supreme compassion and resolve. He asks his brothers to leave him. You too can go off. I'm returning to the Dundashwana Gulma for a personal thing. Then Prince Mahasattva left that part of the forest and returned to where the tigers was. He hung his clothes on a forest creeper and prayed to benefit transmigrating beings. Maintain the peace of peace and enlightenment in my mind. Compassion and steadfast I give this body which others find the hard to give up, but may I seek my chief flawless fearless enlightenment that the Bodhisattvas so cleanly seek. I shall free beings, triple worlds from their intense fear of the ocean of existence. Then Mahasattva lay in front of the tigers, but the tigers did nothing to the compassionate Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva thought, alas, she is too weak and incapable. He rose up and searched for a sharp weapon and did not find one. Taking hold of a strong branch of bamboo stick, when 100 years old, cut his throat and fell down before the tigers. When the Bodhisattva fell down, the earth shook in 6 ways, like a boat pounded by winds and mists. See the sun, as if caught by Rahu, did not shine with his eyes. Flowers mingled with divine perfumes, all power fell. Then a certain goddess, her mind overwhelmed by astonishment, praised the Bodhisattva, no mind one, holding all beings in compassion. Here, as you joyfully give your body here among men, before long, without trouble, you will find pristine peace, tranquil, supreme state, devoid of birth and death pain. Then, licking the blood-stained body of the Bodhisattva, tigers reduced body to bones without flesh and blood. Feeling the earthquake, Mahaprana said the Mayadevi, the wave shakes, really shook as far as the ocean in all 10 directions. Sun lost the razor, rain, flowers and fall. My mind is troubled. My brother is not given his body. My life is set. Considering the words of compassion he spoke and the way he keenly observed the tigress tortured by suffering and weak, nearly eating her cubs, I too am troubled. Then, overcome by extreme years, feeling tears, the young princes went back along the path to where the tigress was. They saw his clothes hanging on bamboo shoots, his blade bones scattered about his hair. Spread in every direction. Upon seeing this, they fainted and fell down upon the remains. Reviving after some time, they raised their eyes and issued a wretched cry. Alas, our beloved brother, king, and our mother too, most devoted to their son, our mother will surely ask, why did you leave the third one of you, whose eyes are long as lotus petals? Alas, for two of us in this part of the forest land, living is not good as meeting death. Having lost Mahasava, how will our parents care for us? Then, lamenting many ways, two young princes went on their way. Their servants running all directions. The princes saw them and asked, princes, what happened at that moment? King was lying on her bed. She dreamed a dream, showing separated from loved one. Her two breasts were cut off and her teeth were wrenched out. Finding three young friend doves, one was snatched by a hawk, terrified by the earthquake, the queen awoke. And suddenly I thought, why did this sustainer, being clothed in ocean, so violently sink? The sun was robbed of its rays, pointing to the sun of my heart. In my dream, my body was in my eyes quivered. My breasts were cut off. I wonder if my son's gone to the forest to play sport or well. As queen sustained these on maid servants and the distress, they spoke to the queen mother. Prince Tenants search of the princess, heard their beloved son has perished. Then, when she heard these words, trembling heart and eye filled with tears, queen approached king. Lord, I have heard that my darling son has perished. The king too was distraught. Away, trembling heart, he said, I have lost my beloved son. To give solace to the queen, the king said, good king, do not grieve. I will immediately search for our prince. As he set off, he saw a gathering of people crowding about. Then the king saw the two princes approaching far upon seeing the king cried, the princes are coming, but not all three. Alas, it is agony to see oneself bereaved of son. The joy of gaining son for a man does not equal the pain of losing son for another. Are those men not happy who have no sons in the world, or those who have met death with their children still living? Or were overcome with grief, the queen, like a she-camel struck in the vital part, issued a most wretched cry. If my three sons with their assembly of servants entered the forest clearing overgrown with blossoms, my darling son has not returned. Where is the last son who is like my heart? Then when the two princes came near, the king asked, where is the youngest of you? Grief-stricken eyes filled with tears, their mouth dry, they said nothing. The queen asked, where is my youngest son? My heart is about to burst, my body is in unbearable pain, my mind is failing. Speak at it once. Then two sons told what had occurred. Upon hearing it, seeing the bones without blood, flesh, blood, and muscle, scared about the king and queen, fell to the ground like trees blown down by the wind. The priests and ministers, witnesses, and then refreshed and revived the bodies of king and queen. With salve of Malaya sandal, upon reviving the king, arose and cried this lamentation, alas, beloved son, affection and jovial, why have you gone to do so quickly to death, so man? Why has that not come to me and said, never have I felt suffering greater than this, with bedraggled hair beating his chest? The queen too wailed pitifully. She reared on the ground as does a fish thrown onto dry land. The female buffalo, the prey of her young she-camel whose offering perished. Alas, who has crushed and scattered on the ground my darling son, the soul is most loving, which any man on this earth today has named my son, shining eyes and moon-like face. Alas, when seeing the best of sons laying upon the ground, why does his body not collapse? This heart of mine is clearly made of iron, does not crack in the face and of tragic pain. Now, today my dream, my breasts were cut with a sword, my teeth wrenched with my mouth, and today my darling son is selling no more. Only one of three sons I was held, snatched by a hawk. Today is surrounded by three sons, and the season one last fruit of my evil dream has come to pass. Then the king, queen, lamented in many ways. Surrounded by a large crowd, they bared themselves of ornaments, paid homage to the remains of their son, laid remains in this place. Ananda, if you think that the young prince called Mahasava at that time, at that moment, was I do not see it like that. Why? At that time, at that moment, I was the young prince called Mahasava. Ananda, even before I was fully free from ignorance, hatred, and desire, I saved beings from suffering and hell. Now that I'm free of all weakness and arrived at enlightenment's perfection, how much more would I wish to free all beings in this way? For the sake of one being, I've happily remained in hell realms. For yes, I have freed beings completely from the cycle of rebirth. With most excellent of hearts, I've helped all beings to perform numerous different daunting tasks. Then Tathagata at that time pronounced these verses. Okay, so one second. So I'm aware of the time. Now, these next pages, there's 8 pages in this chapter. There are these verses, and they just basically retell the story in verse form. So, I was aware of the time being 2 to 3:30. What do you think? Shall we can go on, continue, and just finish out the chapter, and then dedicate?
What's the time?
It's 3:34.
I think it's telling about all the history.
What's that?
Yeah,
The chapter is talking about
it's talking the verse form.
Yeah.
So one thing, like he was Buddha, so it was in us previous life.
Yeah.
Bodhisattva.
Uh-huh.
And he's not attached to the previous life. Like a normal human being, if I'm told I was so and so, the ego will arise, I was this.
Yes.
He's attached to the previous life of Mahayana.
Well, I wouldn't say attached. He is, so there is this, the Jataka tales, right? So it's all of these previous life stories of the Buddha, where the Buddha, in various sutras would explain, what he did in previous lives to attain what he attained. Exactly, all of these. So now, actually there's one of the Jataka tales is this one. So, it's to give us inspiration, So anyway, but the question at hand right now is, shall we go on?
So what's the
8 page, yeah.
What would people like?
Let's finish. Yes, good. Okay, let's finish then. Okay. Then Tathagata at that time pronounced these verses: while seeking supreme enlightenment, I gave my body for many aeons, just as I became king or prince. So I completely gave my body. I recall my past rebirths. Once there was a king called Maharata who had a greatly generous son called Mahasava the Sublime. And Mahasava had 2 brothers, Mahaprananda and Mayadevi by name. These brothers ventured into a thick forest. They saw tigers tortured by hunger. Agonizing was Mahasava's compassion for this being. So famished is this tigress with hunger and thirst, she would surely eat her own cubs. Thus I shall offer my body to her. Mahasava, son of Maharata, saw the famished tigers and their cubs with compassion, thought to save them. He fell down the mountains of the earth with his mountain shook, scattering various flocks of birds and terrifying herds of deer. And this world remained shrouded in darkness. Mahaprananda and Mayadevi, 2 brothers, who looked for him in the great forest. Failing to find Mahasava, they mindlessly ran about, overcome with grief, their hearts filled with pain. They wandered about the forest, their tears streamed down their faces to search for their brother. Mahaprananda and Mayadevi, 2 young princes, came close to the spot where the weak tigress lay. They saw a tigress and her cubs, mouth covered in blood. On the ground were few drops of blood, some bones, some hair was scattered about. When they beheld her stained blood, the minds of the princes were ruined without thought. 2 princes swooned, fell to the ground, the body covered with dust and dirt. Their entourage of attendants, 2 cried lamentation, overcome with grief, sweetly sparkling water upon them. With arms upraised, they wept. The beloved queen and mother born sat in ease in the palace, covered by 500 women. Moni felt milk stream from her breast, and turned blood of the body, and then racked by sharp pain as they were pierced by pins. He was distressed, he was pierced by arrows, sorrow. His heart flooded with grief. She approached the king. Wretchedly before the king, she said this to the king: Maharata, listen to me, king, lord of human, my body burns with fire of grief, milk flowing from the tips of my breast, immediately oozes blood. My body stings as pierced by needles, my heart is next to burning. Such signs I shall not see my son again. Such fate of my children, be compassionate, give me life today. In my dreams I saw 3 young doves, 1 dove, my young son, sweet and kind, was snatched by a hawk in that place. Sorrow of such dreams enter my heart, my mind is tortured by the stress of such fate of my sons. Before long I shall succumb to grief. Oh, compassion one, give me my life. Having spoken, the chief queen faint fell to the ground. Ere my sense deprived memory and thoughts failed upon seeing the sublime queen, faint fall on the ground, whole crown that palace too. Wept and wailed in pitiful voices at once. Lord King was overcome by the loss of son. Ministers tend to set out for the search of the prince. Puke all over that city came out with various homes, crying, tears flowing. They asked, "Have Masav is he alive, dead? Where's Masav gone today? Will we glimpse that one who is beloved and pleasing to see?" Suddenly the silent wind, grief, fierce, and without noise blew throughout the region. Yet through the limits magic there was all sharp sound. King Mara rose up, pressed by with grief, crying. He sprinkled water upon his smiling queen, would faint fall on the ground. Regained his sense, the queen arose. Her mind forlorn, she asked, "Are my sons dead or do they live?" Then King Maratha said, "The chief queen ministers intend to have gone to search for princes. Do not be downcast in mind, do not be sorrowful in heart." In this way, having comforted the queen, King Maratha came out from that royal palace. Surrounded by a host of ministers, he was crying, weak in mind and feeble in body, overcome with grief. Many hundreds of beings too cried with tears falling. They ran out of the excellent city to search for the young princess. Seeing the king emerge from the palace, thus they followed after him. Came left that same spoke of his beloved son. He gazed with staring eyes in every direction. He saw a man coming his way, head shaven, his limbs smeared with blood, clothes covered with dust and dirt, his face was silent with tears, fierce. Grief took hold of King Maratha's heart, his face covered with tears. He wept, standing with arms upraised, he lamented. Then a certain minister came quickly and stood from afar, coming close to King Maratha, Lord of men. He spoke. "O Lord of men, do not be sad. Your charming sons are alive. Before long, in your presence, you will see your beloved sons." King continued upon his way. Then a second minister came to him, clad in dusty and sweat-sodden clothes. With a tearful voice, he said to the king, "O great king, two of your sons are alive, scorched by the fire of grief. O king, your third son is missing. Masav is captured by impermanence." He saw a starving tigress who had given birth shortly before, and was near to eating her cubs. For them, young Masav, his heart filled with compassion, he proclaimed enlightenment's great resolve: "All beings I shall set free in future times. May realize the great enlightenment I so keenly seek." Then Masava jumped down from that steep slope. Famished tigress stood up quickly, making his body without flesh. She left prince with just a few bones. Upon hearing these dreadful words, his mind was shattered. King Maratha fainted and fell to the ground. A fire of grief blazed without relent. Ministers and attendants too wept wretchedly, overcome by sorrow. They sprinkled water upon him and lamented with arms upraised. The third minister said this to the king: "Today I have seen both princes, the great first, lying on the ground. They had fainted. Their minds are broken. We profusely sprinkled water upon them until they revived, rose up once more, blazed. They looked in four directions, standing briefly. They fell again to the ground. They lamented wretchedly in pitiful voices with arms uplifted. They sang brothers' praise. The king's mind had been extremely low, and was distraught at having lost his son. In bearable grief, cried lamentation, and this thought entered the mind of the king: "My son, Masav, beloved and charming, had been captured by impermanence. Son, life of my other two sons could now be lost to the fire of grief. Therefore I shall quickly proceed there to see those sons who are pleasing to behold. On Swift Mountain, the royal court, on the royal palace, I will see. I will quickly bring my sons. If not, the heart of the mother who has borne them is likely to burst from the scorching fire of grief. Upon seeing the two sons, she will find peace, and therefore her life will not be lost." The king, escorted by a host of ministers, mounted his elephant, went to see his two sons. Crying in wretched, painful, pitiful voices, two princes came their way, calling out their brother's name. The king wept in anguish. He took the two sons and returned home. Quickly, like one in great haste, he presented his sons to the queen. "I, Tathagata Shakyamuni, was formerly Mahasabha, the king of Maharata, who made the tigress well. Surodhana, great king, was king of Maharata, and Queen Maya was the blind queen. Mahapranda became Maitreya. Likewise, Prince Mahadev was usual Manjushu. The tigress was Mahaprajapati. The 5 bhikshus were 5 cubs. Then the great king Maratha and the great queen wretchedly cried many lamentations. They bared themselves all limits, and together with a great crowd made homage to the remains of the prince. Placing the remains of Mahasava at this very place, they built a stupa of 7 jewels. When Mahasava gave the tigress his body, he made this altruistic wish: "By the merit of completely giving my body, may I in future times for eons utterly beyond thought form deeds of Buddhas for sentient beings." When this exposition was being given, inconceivable, uncountable numbers, being including gods and humans, generated altruistic attention for supreme and perfect enlightenment, and this is the reason, and this is the cause for revealing the stupa here. Then, through the power of the Tathagata's blessing, that stupa entered the ground on that very spot. This ends the 18th chapter, the chapter on tigers from the King Glory Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light. Okay.
Those 5 bhikshus were the first when Buddha attained enlightenment.
That's right.
Those were his friends, right?
Yes. So you can see in many of these past life stories, you'll see that the ones who were in the Buddha's retinue also were close to him in previous lives. So I'm very glad we finished the chapter too. I mean, it's the merit multiplying day, so you got to practice a little bit more. And then tomorrow, still Sunday, you can rest. So maybe we can leave it there for now. But yeah, as I was mentioning, then, you know, when we read the past life stories of Buddha, it should give us some inspiration. But don't feel that we then, you know, have to go out and sacrifice our life. Shantideva says in Bodhisattva Charyavatara, you know, that first we should give vegetables. And when the thought of giving our body is as easy as the thought of giving vegetables, then we can give our body, you know? So it's, important to sort of not bite off more than we can chew. Actually, the great Shariputra, who was the foremost of the Buddha's Shravaka disciples, you know, at one point, he was actually a bodhisattva on the small path of accumulation. And a new bodhisattva, he was asked for his hand. And so he thought, okay, let me do it. I don't have clinging to my body. So he cut off his hand and then gave it to the other person. But as you know, cut off his right hand, gave it to the left. So the person he gave it to was like, how dare you give me something with your left hand? You understand? Right? So this bodhisattva was like, what the heck, you know, just so distraught. Like, how can I ever benefit sentient beings if they're going to be so ungrateful and just, you know, acting like that. So he then was like, okay, forget this. I can't benefit sentient beings. I'm just going to attain personal liberation for myself. So he fell from the bodhisattva path. So it's a great risk. Well, it is a risk that, especially they say, when we see sentient beings being very, misbehaving, that then this thought can come, oh, how can I ever benefit them? So this is one reason why, you know, we have to just do the practices sort of according to our level, and then, you know, gradually over a long period of time, we can do this. So even something like in my own practice, I'm not very fond of mosquitoes, right? So before I met Dharma, of course, without any thought, you kill the mosquito before I met Dharma. Then, okay, now I have to refrain from killing. So instead, you know, blow them away. But I still don't like getting bitten. Then at one point, hearing how Lama Zopa Rinpoche would offer charity of his blood to sentient beings, I said, okay, I'm going to try like my guru. So just one second, you know, 1 second I offer, you know, it's okay. So we do what we can, and then we try do more and more, right? We can't, have an inflated view of ourselves, because it's not then sustainable, right? You get me? What do you think? So that's the middle way, right? Over a long period of time, training, practicing, going more and more, then it's like that. Otherwise, you know, it's just like, you know, physical, like if we're running, you know, trying to train for a marathon. Please don't do that today with the air pollution in Delhi. But, you know, the marathon is what, 26 miles. The first day you decide to run a marathon, you don't run 26 miles. You start slow, one mile, then gradually you build up, like this.
But the effect of pain also goes. Like he cut his own neck and offered to the Chinese. That pain is also not.
Okay. So, okay. At a certain point, when one is an Arya Bodhisattva, then one doesn't have pain. But, so there is a bit of debate at what level the Buddha was at these various times. Now, some of you might know the Golden Light, the Vajrakara Sutra as well, right? Vajrakara Sutra. In that, you'll see there's this one thing. When the king of Kalinga cut my flesh, at that time there did not arise in me the thought of an I, the thought of a being, the thought of a person. If there had arisen in me the thought of an I, a thought of a being, a thought of a person, then there would have arisen hostility, something like this, right? Okay, so that actually, at that time, that's referring to another previous life story of the Buddha that's found in the Jataka Tales, where it was the, I guess the translation, the expounder of patience, okay? And so basically, without getting into the full story, his name was, in Sanskrit, Kshanti Vadin, right? Kshanti is patience, like Zopa. Vadin is like the expounder of, right? Or the proclaimer, the teacher of patience. That was his name because he had patience as his main practice. Now, he was meditating in the forest. There was a king close by. The king had a harem. They were all getting drunk and partying or doing whatever they're doing. The king passes out drunk. His harem of women, then they like go out and they go into the forest and they come across this bhikshu, and they sit down and he starts to teach them. The king arises from his drunken stupor. Where are all my women? And he goes to the forest, and then he sees this bhikshu, the monk, with all of his harem. Okay, he gets very mad, very jealous, and then somehow thinks that, his name is the expounder of patience, but he's just using this as a kind of means to get at his women, having this like great reputation. And so he says, hey, you're a big phony. Let's see if you practice patience now, and starts to cut off his limbs. So cutting. But at that time, there had arisen no anger, no nothing, no ill will. So in some commentaries at that time, they say he was Arya Bodhisattva. But this one, not sure. It seems that even before one is an Arya Bodhisattva, Bodhisattvas will give up their life and they will experience pain. But for them, although there's physical pain, like some of you, right? Especially, I can only imagine when you're giving childbirth, right? There's a lot of pain, but you have so much love for your child that it's kind of like, okay, you can bear it, right? So similar in that way, I think these bodhisattvas on the path of the lower paths, though they still feel pain, still they think, okay, no problem. Like, I'm doing this to benefit sentient beings. Like the Buddha in his other past life, when he was the bodhisattva captain, and he saw the pirates about to kill people on the ship. You know this story, right? He had the thought, okay, rather than this pirate or this thief to kill the 500 other merchants and be reborn in hell, I will take his place. I will kill this robber, and I will be reborn there. So at that time, right, it seems that that would be a lower bodhisattva, because an Arya bodhisattva would not have the risk of being reborn in the hell realms, right? So even at that time, he was willing to take on the suffering to be reborn in the hell realms and really experience it, not just some, I'm an Arya bodhisattva, he cut me and I don't feel it anyway, I mean, when we reach that state, it's almost like actually not as amazing as, no, I am gonna suffer. I'm not that high. I'm a low, I am gonna do it anyway. You get me?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, yeah, we can end the session here. So yes, we will dedicate. So, we don't have the prayer book. Okay, I'll say this. There's a very beautiful prayer composed by Lama Tsongkhapa. It's a prayer to be reborn in the land of bliss, the Sukhavati Pure Land, Amitabha Buddha Pure Land. And in that, actually, Manjushri told him sort of how to compose it. Anyway, there's one stanza, or there's actually a section where it says, may I become just like Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, and have blah, 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 such and such qualities. May I be just like Manjushri and have such and such qualities. May I be just like this. But anyway, first we can dedicate, and I'm paraphrasing, but may we dedicate the merit that we've accumulated in our time here today, as well as all the merit accumulated over 3 times, that we can become just like Shakyamuni Buddha, who, through the strong force of great compassion and bodhicitta, untiringly, performed many difficult actions for the benefit of sentient beings. So that's the first one. So then we can also dedicate that this mind of bodhicitta arise in our hearts and the hearts of all the rest of the sentient beings without any second's delay. And may that bodhicitta that has already been generated, may it always increase. Then through the power of bodhicitta arising in all of our hearts, may all the proximate causes of suffering in the world, suffering due to war, suffering due to disease, both mental and physical disease, suffering due to environmental degradation, particularly the pollution, climate change, natural disasters, all of these sort of environmental problems, may they also be completely purified and pacified in this and all the world systems of 10 directions. All the war, all the conflict, may all those be pacified, particularly the war in Ukraine, the war in Palestine and Israel right now. And then, after all of these proximate causes of suffering be pacified, may all sentient beings have only the most conducive conditions for practicing Dharma and attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. And so we also dedicate all our merit, as well as all the merit accumulated over 3 times, for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May he again take birth in this world in a form where we can continue to receive guidance and inspiration and teachings from him. And then all the other beings, holy gurus still in the world, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, may they have inconceivably long and healthy lives. May all of their activities to benefit sentient beings, particularly the activity of teaching, increase. And from our side, may we always be able to be guided by such holy beings and put all of their advice into practice right away and without even a second's delay. So then all the beings who recently died, may they be born in the Pure Land where they can achieve enlightenment. All the beings who are sick, may they quickly be freed from all of their ailments. And yes, oh yes, may Tushita, Mahayana Meditation Center, and all the other centers of FPMT, all the various projects of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, have all the obstacles removed and have all the required conditions such that they can be of utmost benefit for sentient beings and the teachings of Buddha. So yeah, also that. So thank you very much. Thank you all the people on Zoom. I'm very happy to see you. So we've done, by the way, chapter 1, 2, 4, and 18. So if you're very good, you can complete the rest of the recitation. And then there's a website you can look up and you can report your recitation. And it's actually nice because it reports by country how many, where the sutra has been recited. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Venerable
Thank you.
Namjong. And whenever you have time again, please, you're always invited to Tushita.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be waiting for the next session now.
Thank you.
Or your
Thank
next
you.
trip.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or she has made something for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Take it to the next
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
And the box.
Oh,